Hi, I'm Rishi DuSodha from InX. Next up in the Women in Consulting series, I'm joined by Nicole from EOS Deal Advisory. Nicole, welcome. Thanks for joining me. Nicole, what is it that you do at EOS?
Well, firstly, for those of you who don't know EOS, we're a boutique advisory firm based in London with an office also out in the US. As a firm, we provide deal advice, and I think now you could chop a little bit of the deal out, a lot of non-deal advice for large corporate PLCs and mid-market private equity predominantly.
Nicole, the women in consulting topic is so prevalent. It must be so refreshing working for a female founder-led business.
Yeah, and I think, Rishi, I'm very privileged because I joined EOS as a director, which from a Big Four consulting perspective is senior manager.
Yeah.
So it's really all I've known. And I think, my job prior to that was very similar. Men and women were seen as equals at the board table. And EOS has been that and more. So yes, absolutely privileged.
Amazing. And what do you do at EOS?
So as a firm, we're a deal advisory firm. And I think, where we've come from when we started, which was 6 to 7 years ago to now, you could chop a deal out of that or throw it in. We are a deal and advisory firm, be it supporting very large corporates, FTSE 250 to mid-market private equity firms across various sectors. Myself specifically, my background is pharma and life sciences. So when I joined EOS, it was really to build that pillar and specialism within the firm. And that can be, I guess where I have my strength is anything very operational. So it is operational due diligence. It is turning businesses around. It is carving out sites. It is thinking about, why are we not making money? Nicole, please solve that for me. Yeah. So we are very broad in mandate. I think very senior in thinking. I think when you compare us to some of the competitors in the space, people are always shocked at how much senior time they see from us, especially early on in mandates. So whilst I support across various sectors, you could say that my brand is healthcare life sciences.
Amazing. Awesome. So, Nicole, when someone asks you about your path to partner, how do you operate and make it work? What do you tell them?
I cut it up. I'm a very logical person, so everything in my mind is cut into blocks. So I think to be successful at the execution, you have to have a very good foundation. And for me, the foundation is almost split into two from a personal perspective. I think as an individual, you have to back yourself day in, day out, even on the days when you show up to work and go, I'm having a bad day. You have to believe and back yourself that you got it. Yeah. So I think there's personal foundation and rigor. I think then secondarily, from a family and support network perspective, I am very privileged in the sense that my partner and I look at parenting as a dual effort. And I think that in itself has almost two offshoots, right? You have support from, making the lunches, doing the kindy pickup, but then you also have kind of the emotional support. I always laugh, let's not underestimate the power of pillow talk from a pressure release valve perspective within confidential, remits and all that fun stuff. So I think that in itself is fundamental. Because I think when you go through periods of whether it's peak delivery or pressure from, what you need to deliver as a business, those keep you solid and sane, I think. I think then from a career perspective, how did I succeed or make you successful? It's interesting because I joined EOS and consulting as a director. So I came from industry, came in, what's this consulting thing, right? And when I started, I had no network, right? I knew a few pharma businesses. I was very operational and I knew I had to spend a lot of time there. I think when you're at that grade, you have to be very strong at delivery. That's what gets you there, right? I think from that level almost where I entered EOS, if you just stay in delivery, you're almost creating your career path to being delivery centric. And I think the more senior you get, that from a bandwidth perspective becomes harder. So not that there was almost a decision tree in the road that said I cannot just be a delivery focused partner, but I think naturally I pushed myself to be a very well-respected delivery partner, but also understanding the importance and strength to being obviously very sales-focused, thinking about my brand, thinking about how you win new clients as well as support the clients of the firm. And I think that has very much accelerated my career path and success, is not just Because I think at that director level, you get very stuck in delivery, and you have to create a bit of space to step away from the delivery to allocate time to be successful, and that's very hard to juggle those two. But I think if you don't do it then, it's not that it's too late, but you have to start the investment early, because brand takes a lot of time to develop in the market, and I hate to say it, brand is why the phone rings.
Yeah, it takes a lot of years to build that trust, credibility, and that relationship with clients. It's not going to be a 6-12 month thing. You've got to have invested a lot of time to.
And I think for me, I've never, operated in a Big Four. But I think in a boutique environment, the brand of the firm does not do a lot of the selling.
Yeah.
The brand of the individuals is very important because a lot of people won't know the brand. So you and your personal brand is very important from a sales generation perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you think of a particular conversation that you've had with an up-and-coming female leader who has asked you for specific advice around what you've just talked about there? And what did you tell them?
Well, it's funny. We did some internal BD training yesterday.
Right.
Because I think, I reflected to exactly that point. At what point did I start investing in network? And I think it's a very hard thing to do, and you don't one day just go, hey, I'm going to start doing a lot of BD, because it takes time. You take yourself on the streets and do a lot of lunches, a lot of breakfasts. And the advice I told the team is, which I probably should have done, which I didn't do, is I said, it's very hard to define your own brand, right?
Yeah.
Until you've got it, and then someone introduces you and you go, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I said, if you were to almost go back and say, how would you like someone to introduce you? What are the traits? What are the strengths? What are you known for? That's almost your brand. And I thought, maybe try and do that, because every meeting you go to, you should be solidifying and absolutely stamping that is who you are. Is it opinionated? Is it the person you want to have a beer with? Is it, breadth of skill, depth of skill, whatever it is, those things all add up. And then the other thing I was speaking to the team about yesterday is, I think we think about business development sometimes too strictly or in like a narrowed path. For me, business development is all about almost trading network. So when I go to a meeting, I don't talk about services that we offer. I don't talk about things, can I win a project for you? I talk about how should we be leveraging each other's network? And absolutely in a two-way street. How can I help you? These are some of my clients where I can say these are the types of support scopes, this is the problems I've solved. Who in your network would that be helpful conversation to have? And I almost have like a secret little rule that I have that says every meeting you go to, you should look to get 2 to 3 introductions from. Vice versa, right? Not from please give me your network, but everyone we engage with at our level or levels up or down should be investing in network. It should be an important part of their role. So that was some of the advice I gave to the team on, don't try and sell a service, sell the brand and sell network.
Yeah, brilliant. I think that's going to be so insightful and so valuable to people that are on that, I suppose at that sort of intersection of their careers, thinking, should I go for partner or not? Should I exit consulting? Can I do that? And am I that type of character? Because let's face it does take a certain type of character to be that person. And you clearly are that person.
But it takes time to evolve, right? I was, I had a new PE client last month. Took 2.5 years to get the first project. Okay, not by trying to sell a project, but by dropping them an email, talking about an asset in the market. It takes time.
Yeah.
So
Nicole, thanks so much for the conversation. I mean, just as we round this conversation off, what's one piece of advice that you would give to a female director that's looking to make that next jump?
I think, there's many things I could say, but I think the one thing I would say is, don't ask, don't get. There'll be some things you try, they fail. Don't take them personally. Everyone's busy. Give them another shot. Try a different tone. Try a different angle. Sometimes these things take multiple tries, multiple angles of stakeholder management to get a bit of a win. So
amazing. Nicole, thank you so much for your time today. It was absolutely incredible having a conversation with you, and there was so much positive and useful, tangible advice that you've given to the audience.
Thanks, Rishi. Absolute pleasure.
Amazing.